Just ahead on CTV News, the White House reverses its freeze on federal grants. Plus, ICE agents begin making raids in Maryland.
This is happening everywhere. It's a huge problem. It's very risky and undermines the people's confidence.
And the county's Chamber of Commerce discusses the impact of the Trump administration.
We have to be hyper-focused on just making sure that we address the needs of our businesses. We are focused on equity.
Those stories and more on CTV News, starting now.
Good evening. This is CTV News for January 29th. I'm Mariah Jalad. Thanks for joining us. Well, he promised to disrupt Washington, and it appears Donald Trump is doing just that. The president is offering buyouts to all federal employees who opt to leave their jobs by next week. An email sent to millions of federal employees said those who leave voluntarily will receive 8 months of pay, but they have to accept the offer February 6th. That's just 8 days away. Now, nearly 20% of the federal regional workforce live in Prince George's County. Congressman Steny Hoyer says the president's move could be devastating to our region.
If he accomplishes his objective by reducing by a 30% or 25% or even 40%, it will undermine the services that we provide for the American people that they need. That's going to hurt us. It's going to hurt our county. It's going to hurt everybody in our county. It's going to hurt our businesses. Here we are at the Chamber. Because we have grown up over time to serve the federal government. If the federal government is decimated in this area or around the country, it's not going to be good.
The American Federation of Government Employees is among those condemning the president's action. And the federal aid freeze has melted away less than 2 days after the White House Budget Office put trillions of dollars in funding into limbo. The Office of Management and Budget pulled the order today, simply saying it was rescinded. President Trump's order would have put a temporary freeze on federal grants and program funding, while the administration conducted a review to root out progressive initiatives. The order quickly created chaos and panic, with states, schools, and nonprofits sent into confusion about who would be affected. The order was blocked by a federal judge minutes before it went into effect and now seems to be completely axed. And President Trump scores his first legislative win today, signing a controversial immigration detention bill into law just days after taking office. The Laken Riley Act, named after a Georgia nursing student killed by an undocumented immigrant, passed with bipartisan support in Congress. The new law requires ICE to detain undocumented immigrants who are accused of theft and violent crimes.
With today's action, her name will also live forever in the laws of our country, and this is a very important law. This is something that has brought Democrats and Republicans together. That's not easy to do. Laken did it. Laken did it. America will never, ever forget Laken Hope Riley. The vicious criminal who murdered Precious Laken was an illegal alien member of the barbaric Venezuelan prison gang known as Tren de Aragua. He trespassed across our southern border in 2022 and was apprehended by Border Patrol, but under the cruel policies of the last administration, instead of being deported, as he should have been, he was released into the United States.
Trump also announced he's directing the opening of a detention center at Guantanamo Bay to hold up to 30,000 migrants who are living illegally in the United States. And Congressman Glenn Ivey is among Democrats throwing their support behind a federal lawsuit filed this week in federal court. The suit was filed by 5 Quaker groups across the country, including here in Maryland. This is video of ICE raids taken Monday night in Silver Spring and Tacoma Park, where 12 individuals were picked up. The lawsuit specifically seeks to stop the Trump administration from sending ICE agents into houses of worship and schools.
Lawsuit, there were multiple plaintiffs that all were members of the Quaker congregations. all over the country, but the suit was brought in Greenbelt. And it's a First Amendment challenge to the Trump executive order, because it really puts people at risk just from going to worship, going to church, going to pray to their God, be in their sacred spaces, by allowing these kinds of raids to take place at these churches. And then the other aspect of that, that's a separate case, but just as important, is potential raids on schools. Because this scares kids, makes them not want to go to class. And obviously we want kids to be in class and learning, whether they've got parents from another country or not.
And more than a dozen lawsuits challenging the administration's ICE orders have been filed, but the Quaker suit appears to be the first by a faith-based organization. And as deportation fears grow amongst the undocumented immigrant community, the Prince George's school system is clarifying rumors related to ICE agents near schools. Superintendent Millard House says ICE agents have not been present at or stationed near any county-run schools. He went on to say that ICE agents have not been allowed on school property. The school district has an immigration task force, which is providing principals with protocols to ensure that unauthorized personnel are not permitted at its schools.
Our local government officials continue to support our district and the guidance, which reinforces state and local protections for all students and families. Know this, our school and school district continues to be a safe space to learn and to grow for our students.
And for more information on the school district's immigration policy, visit pgcps.org/immigration. And the Prince George's Chamber of Commerce held its annual business meeting this morning. And while officials say the chamber remains strong, speakers addressed what they called the elephant in the room, the impact of the Trump administration on businesses and nonprofits in the Prince George's County, particularly the uncertainty generated by the many executive orders.
It's going to be difficult, but I think it's going to take all of us. To heard the congressman today, this is a unified approach. The chamber is a body of people. It's not just one person. And so it takes all of us to do it. But we also have an ecosystem. So we have business owners, entrepreneurs, thought leaders. We can definitely make things happen as we've done in the past. And I think this is a good time for us to just recalibrate, rethink our message, and go forward.
With 700 members, the Prince George's Chamber of Commerce is one of the largest in Maryland. You're watching CTV News. I'm Mariah Jalad. Still to come.
Here at BWI Thurgood Marshall Airport, TSA is showing us how to properly travel with a firearm when going through the airport. I'm Bryce Parker. We'll have more coming up on CTV News.
When we have the food we need, we are at our best. We push further. We rise higher. We unlock our full potential. When we are at our best, we have more to offer the world around us. When we have the food we need, we make our communities stronger. Together, we can help everyone get the food they need to thrive. Join the movement to end hunger at feedingamerica.org/actnow.
Meet the Scan, a simple procedure whose mission is to detect lung cancer early.
I'm here to save you.
But I feel fine.
That's great, but you may still be at high risk for lung cancer.
Oh man, that's a new fence.
If you smoke, early detection could save your life. Learn more at savedbythescan.org.
We're with Bridget, whose husband won't be home for months, and whose daughter is due any day. We're with Mike, who's leaving home to protect his family and yours. Thanks to your donations, we're with all service members and their families who need community, connection, and maybe a bit of magic. Are you with them? Learn more at uso.org today.
Welcome back. Firearms are an increasing issue at TSA checkpoints, following a year that saw more air travelers than ever before. CTV's Bryce Parker is at BWI Airport with more.
So nationally, we did see another record-setting year of firearms intercepted at TSA checkpoints. But locally, it was this TSA checkpoint right behind me at BWI Thurgood Marshall Airport that saw the most firearms intercepted in the region when compared to DCA and Dulles International.
So 47 firearms were detected here, and that was a record for 2024. Unfortunately, that's a record that we are not proud of.
Those 47 firearms are part of the combined total of 117 found in the region. And although TSA applauds the efforts of its agents,
that is not acceptable.
Over 6,600 firearms were found at TSA checkpoints nationwide in 2024. But what's even more concerning?
94% of those firearms were loading.
When a firearm is detected, a TSA agent immediately stops the screening process and alerts the Maryland Transportation Authority Police.
We ensure that once TSA calls us, we respond quickly and handle the situation,
leading to anything from a potential arrest to loss of pre-check status and fines that could total up to thousands of dollars. A hefty price to pay for what most offenders say was because they forgot where their firearm was located.
It's an unacceptable excuse. You should know where your firearm is at all times.
This is absolutely a preventable mistake.
We simply ask you, make sure when you're traveling, start with a fresh, clean bag before you start packing. Make sure it's completely empty. Then start packing your bag so that you are absolutely positively sure.
There is no way I'm going to leave an opportunity for something to get in that bag and I go through that screening point, and then guess what? I'm responsible.
Do not bring a firearm to the checkpoint. There's proper ways to package it, there's proper ways to travel with it, and that's what we hope we get the message out today.
And that process is to place the unloaded firearm in a hard lock box separate from the ammunition, then declare the firearm with your airline where they will have a form for you to fill out. And that way you can assure that your weapon will be there when you land. Reporting from BWI Thurgood Marshall Airport, I'm Bryce Parker, CTV News.
Thanks, Bryce. And so far, 3 firearms have been recovered at BWI since the start of the new year. And a brutal house fire in Oxon Hill Tuesday night left an 84-year-old woman dead and has firefighters working to stop it from happening again. Firefighters arrived to Brandy Hall Court and saw flames coming out of a bedroom on the 2nd floor. The fire was put out within 15 minutes, but the woman was pronounced dead on the scene. Investigation suggests the 2 smoke alarms in the home weren't working at the time, which prompted units to head back to the area this morning and pass out free smoke alarms to residents. To see if you qualify for free smoke alarm installation, call 301-583-2200. And a political campaign sign defaced has questions swirling. A Rushern Baker campaign sign on Bladensburg Road in Colmar Manor was found defaced with purple spray paint, obscuring key election details. The sign promoting Baker's run for county executive now has its text and QR code barely legible. It's unclear who's behind the act or whether or not it was politically motivated. And the sponsor of a bill in the Maryland Senate says it will help reduce racial disparity in traffic stops and protect police officers. That measure is Senate Bill 292, and it's sponsored by Senator Charles Sidnor III. The bill would reclassify some violations that police can pull drivers over for as secondary violations. That includes driving without functioning headlights, taillights, and brake lights, excessive noise, window tints, and failure to illuminate a license plate. In a Senate hearing yesterday, law enforcement officials said the bill would cause problems for officers, and some opponents said it would be a danger to the public. And as Maryland lawmakers brainstorm ways to close the budget gap, some are playing with the idea of legalizing online gambling. The so-called iGaming proposal is being sponsored by Senator Ron Watson. Maryland voters would get to decide on the issue as an amendment question in next year's election. It's the same way that slot machines, casino table games, and sports betting became legal in the state. Supporters of the bill say millions of Marylanders are already gambling online illegally, with the state making zero revenue.
That's estimated to produce $1.6 billion in revenue in tax revenue for the state over a 5-year period. We didn't pass it last year. It needed to go to referendum. Now, unfortunately, we find ourselves in a worse condition than we were last year, $3 billion deficit. And now we're talking about pulling back from the blueprint education. That's going to impact our teachers, that's going to impact our students, and that shouldn't be the case. We needed to do a better job of articulating to the residents the value of implementing iGaming. It is no different than sports betting, which we've already identified, and we're receiving revenue.
Some opponents of the bill are concerned legalizing iGaming would contribute to problem gambling. Others say it would take business away from brick-and-mortar gambling. Meantime, Attorney General Anthony Brown releases healthcare facility guidance regarding immigration enforcement. The guidance includes that healthcare facilities are not allowed to provide ICE agents with a patient's personal information unless there's a warrant, subpoena, or summons. ICE agents are not allowed in restricted spaces without a warrant, and healthcare staff must request an ICE agent's credentials and contact lawyers immediately if agents come into the building. And still to come on CTV News, a local teacher is receiving a huge recognition. After the break, find out how she earned this special honor. Back in a moment.
My name's Stacy, I'm 57, and I was adopted in 2020.
We were adopted in 2019.
And we were adopted in 2021.
We had a house, and it sounds crazy, but it wasn't a home. The one thing that Jake and Emma brought is it became a home.
When I met Dakota, he had just turned 14.
You weren't there for the first this and the first that. I missed the first words, but we got a lot of other firsts.
Watching her say, oh my God, I cannot believe I got my license. And she's like, I passed. And I'm like, girl.
See them grow. It is.
They chose to love us. They didn't have to. They chose us. Family.
You and you.
Kids in the middle.
What I thought was a complete life was nowhere near complete, but it is now.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org.
Got one of these hanging on the wall? You're qualified. One of these? You're qualified too. Love a good checklist? Qualified. 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 Yep, qualified. Because if you know how to put up anything in your home, you're qualified to save lives by installing free smoke alarms in your community. Go to soundthealarm.org to find a volunteer event near you.
Well, building wealth isn't just about earning, it's about mindset. And that's exactly what the Wealth Summit at Bowie State University aims to teach. On February 1st, financial experts will break down everything from investing and credit strategies to cryptocurrency and alternative lending sources.
I want them to walk away from the Wealth Summit not just inspired, but empowered. Empowered to make different decisions, empowered to do more with their money than just pay bills and die. It wasn't until I met people that were, literally, you meet people and they show you that when they're asleep, they're making money. When they're vacationing, their money is making money. And so I want our people to come to the Wealth Summit and leave with real tools, real strategies that they can apply to their own lives.
This summit takes place this Saturday from 8:30 in the morning until 5:30 p.m. at Bowie State's MLK Center. For more information, visit thewealthsummit.org. And some new state-of-the-art changes are headed to Prince George's Stadium. Maryland National Capital Park and Planning, along with the Maryland Stadium Authority and Attain Sports, announced $50 million toward plans to design and construct renovations at the stadium, including 2 new video boards. This comes as part of the state's initiative to address Major League Baseball Player Development League deficiencies in minor league stadiums across the state. Construction is set to start in March. And one Prince George's teacher receives a presidential honor for her teaching in STEM. Modupe Olafunmiloye was awarded the Presidential Award for Excellence in Mathematics and Science Teaching. She teaches science at Kenmore Middle School and is also the founder of STEM Wonders Education and Enrichment, an organization providing hands-on STEM opportunities for students. Olafunmiloye also taught students with cognitive disabilities at Buck Lodge Middle School and won multiple state awards for her work. And now Simon Buggs is here with our Wednesday sports page.
That's right, Mariah. We have some great football news in store for today. What's going on, guys? And coming up on your Wednesday sports page, Wise Head football coach Steve Rapp touches on being nominated for the Don Shula Coach of the Year award. That story and more all coming up on CTV Sports. Don't go anywhere.
This is my house. My parents helped build it. Now we don't get wet when it rains. I don't get too hot or too cold inside. And I don't have to worry when the winds blow. This is my house.
This is my house. This is my house. This is my house. My house. My house.
I can play with my sister. I can play with my brother. I can play with my mother, my father, my family.
My family. My family. This is my house. This is my house.
I can study. I can be safe with my family. This is my house.
This is my house. This is my house. This is my house.
My house.
My house.
This is my house.
Visit Habitat.org to find out how you can help more families like mine have a safe, decent place to call home.
Wake up and clear the clutter. Send your old electronics packing. In Maryland, you can e-cycle through many manufacturers or through your county, and usually it's free. Visit mde.maryland.gov/e-cycling to find out how to recycle electronics in your county. mde.maryland.gov/e-cycling.
Our individual voices are powerful, but not everything has a voice. Let us be a voice to the voiceless, the caretakers our home deserves. If there's one thing we've learned, it's that when we all come together, the sky is the limit. It's time to speak up for nature.
Okay, sports fans, it's finally time for your Wednesday sports page. Beginning with some news from the gridiron. As I mentioned last week, the Washington Commanders recently named Wise head football coach Steve Rapp as their nominee for the Don Shula Coach of the Year award. This award recognizes the top football coach in the country that displays integrity, achievement, and leadership. And Rapp did just this, as in his first year as head coach of the Pumas, he led the team to an 11-2 record, as well as a state championship game appearance where they did lose to Quince Orchard 24-13. I talked to Coach Rapp and he reflected on the season that led to him being nominated for this award.
For me, it's a day-by-day process, right? And I'm never looking forward, never looking backwards, right? Just trying to win that individual day. And, when you stack those days on top of each other, you hope that, there's more positive ones than negative ones. So, obviously, we were able to stack a lot of good ones, right? Weren't able to complete our ultimate goal. And that kind of took away from the prize a little bit. But outside of that, I was, able to do enough in the eyes of the Commanders to deserve the award.
Congratulations on your nomination, Coach. You definitely deserve it. Meanwhile, the Bowie High School swim team is in the midst of another season. The Bulldogs had a good outing last week in their swim meet against Largo and Gwynn Park as multiple swimmers dropped times. I caught up with the head coach of the team, N. Francisco Leonard, to talk to him about what he wants to see out of his team as they head into the county championships to become even more efficient swimmers.
One of my mottos is leave it in the water. And I tell my kids all the time, when we're racing and when we're going out there, I need you to leave it in the water. So whether we're dropping time or we're adding time or we're swimming our time, that's one of the things that swimming is one of those sports where you're going to build one meet to the next meet. And so we always try to take the good with the bad. So even if they're adding time, we talk about the good that could have possibly come out with that. So their stroke technique, their kicks, their turns, those are all pieces that play a part in their swim becoming more proficient.
In other news, the Lady Terps track and field team is gearing up for their next opponent. Maryland will travel to State College to compete against Penn State in their National Open. And Thora Chioma Njoku is looking forward to matching up against her Big Ten rival.
I'm just excited to see everybody compete. It's going to be a very competitive meet, and I think that everyone's just going to put their best foot forward. We've been training towards, meets like Penn State or this big of a meet for months now, so I think we're just going to go out there and do what we do.
The meet begins on Friday. And wrapping up sports, the Washington Capitals got their 34th win of the season last night, taking down the Calgary Flames 3-1. Their next opponent will be the Ottawa Senators tomorrow at 7 o'clock. And that wraps up your Wednesday sports page.
Thanks, Simon. And how impressed are you with Coach Rapp being nominated for this award?
Very impressed, Mariah, because coming into 2024, I was wondering if the team would still be that same dominant team that Coach Parrish was, under Coach Parrish coming into the season, and he answered all those questions. It seemed like this team didn't miss a beat. Like I said, they went 11-2, booked another trip to the state championship game. He definitely deserved the nomination for this award, and I hope he wins it, man, because he definitely deserves it. It was a fun time to watch this season.
All right, thanks, Simon.
No problem.
Now let's get a glance at our 3-day weather forecast. Tonight will be mostly clear, but we'll have wind gusts up to 31 miles per hour. Tomorrow will be sunny. We're going to reach a high of 48, and rain is expected later in the night. Friday, it's going to be 55 with a much-needed rain that should wash away the leftover salt on our roads and sidewalks. Saturday, it'll be sunny with a high of 46 and low of 28. And now for a look at the community calendar. Do you love to crochet? Would you like to learn? Tomorrow morning, the New Carrollton Library is hosting a pins and needles class. Beginners are welcome and materials will be provided for first-time participants. The class will start at 10 a.m. and for more information, contact 240-455-5451. And that wraps up CTV News for now. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you again tomorrow. Good night.
Good night, everybody.